America,
and to the
to the
republic
republic
for which it
for which
stands,
it stands,
one nation,
one
under
nation,
God,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
with liberty and justice for all.
for all. I got lost there for a minute. I don't know why.
Yeah. Oh, the delay kills you.
Okay, everybody should, could you call the roll, Jean, please?
Yeah, certainly. Councilor Burke,
Here?
Councilor Edwards,
Here,
Councilor deMedeiros, Treasurer Saurette,
Here,
and Clerk Chabot. So I have Denise deMedeiros and Joan Chabot is absent.
Okay. So did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes? And if
Yes.
so, are there any changes? If not, Jay or Denise, do I have a motion to approve?
yes, motion to approve.
second,
Jay has a second. Any discussion? All right, Jay,
yes.
Denise,
Yes,
and I'm a yes. So now we're moving on to the FTR discussion. So Michael, were you able at all to work up a flow chart?
I did not. I was supposed to
Okay.
meet with Chris and we did not meet, so that was my fault.
Okay.
But I
So-
do want to understand a couple of things though before I've been meant to go through the want to review the tape again at that meeting. But my understanding is it was going to be the budget committee was going, the budget committee was going to, I guess hearing echo, I don't know why.
Yeah, I'll turn my,
Oh, maybe, yeah. Yep. So the budget committee was going to recommend a budget to the town council. The town council was then going to work on the budget and submit it to pass the budget. And within a certain period of days, there would be an opportunity for voters to circulate a petition to override that budget and I guess propose an alternative budget. That was the general outline, if I recall. What, good.
yeah, I think so. I think the one thing that we bannered back and forth, and I don't know if we came to a conclusion, at least for now, was whether or not we should continue to elect or should the budget committee be appointed?
And if so, how many members, right? So,
And if so, how many members? Yep.
Well, my attitude on that is and continues to be, I don't think we should try to get rid of an elected body. But I would like to see it go from 11 to say 7.
So
go
I
ahead.
think that's reasonable.
A lot of
Jay.
work, yeah.
can you talk more about why you wouldn't want to move away from an elected? I think you said it might, you're afraid it might fail.
I am pretty sure it would fail, but that's not the only reason I say that. A lot of work went in the past into establishing a budget committee and establishing, what they did and how they did it. I think the big problem with the budget committee is not the budget committee itself, but the fact that anybody can just waltz in and undo all the work they did and undo all the work the town council did in developing, or even the town administrator did, in developing and presenting a budget by simply canvassing their friends and neighbors, waltz in with 50 signatures and make it all for naught. Granted, it's, the voters still in the end decide. So I don't think the solution is to get rid of the budget committee. I think the solution is to deal with how we do a petitioner's budget and how easy or how hard we make it to do that.
Okay. Denise, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts was similar to what Jay said, and just doing away with an elected body I think optically could look just, I don't think it would sit well with some of the voters who have the opinion that, the council's trying to control everything, and this is one way for them to do that. So I would just suggest, sort of like what we've done with the casino money, is do things in stages, and work towards, set a goal to be able to do this. I think eventually, I think the council should set the budget, but I don't think you're going to get that kind of support all at once.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree that there needs to be a budget committee. For me, it's whether or not it needs to continue to be elected, but I'm not going to follow my sword on that one. So I'm trying to pull up, because I thought I had the version that we were marking up from before, but I can't find it.
The charter is section 701.
Oh, Mike, can I make another comment on this?
No, you're done.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I'll say it anyway.
Go ahead. Go ahead, I said.
It's like, it's easy to give something to somebody, but once you have done that, it's harder than hell to take it away.
Yeah.
So that's part of my thought process on this. Not that we've given the voters an opportunity, but they have had their oar in the water, if you will, and their ability to vote on this. And now to say, we've changed our mind, we're going to take it back, is not going to bode well.
That's fine.
So can we just look at, if we look at section 301,
Yep.
so do we have any consensus as to the number? Right now it's 11, and they're elected for a 4-year term, and they're staggered.
That's, except for the dog park committee, that's the largest committee in town.
Okay.
So you
And
say
I
that's
know-
section 301?
Hold on, like
You're in the
701,
right?
sorry. 701.
7?
And when I was on the budget committee, and I mean my first year, I said to myself, oh God, is this cumbersome?
Well, I also think you're having difficulty getting people to run for it for a lot of different reasons. So,
Well, yeah, we got that problem too now. But that
So we
hasn't
have-
always been the case.
We have 2 former budget committee chairs here. Thoughts on numbers?
I
So
still like 7.
I think 7's workable. I do know that, if it's gonna work the way it's working today with, reliance on the town administrator and the town council to put it together and having limited number of meetings, there's really no need to have 11. I mean, back in the day when I used to do it, we used to do the budget well before the town council had its final say in it. So, I think 7's a workable number. I do, it depends on how many meetings they're gonna have. It's, as long as I think the town administrator and the school get their budgets to them in an appropriate amount of time to get this flushed out. And that's really the issue. It's how much time and what numbers are we working with when they get this put before them.
Well, you can't use the last 2 years as a point of reference because they were a bit of an aberration. I
They
know
were,
that-
except the only good thing about the last 2 years is that the numbers were a little bit more concrete when the budgets were finally put together, because it was July.
Well, what I mean to say is the number of meetings, I don't know how many they had last year, but my last year, we had a ton of them, but that was mostly because the whole situation was so fluid. We had to have meetings to catch up. But normally, I think they have, 10 or 12?
I do think it's still good to have a budget committee. I think it's too much time, energy, and effort. Not that the town council can't do that, but with all the other duties and responsibilities they have, having a budget committee kind of alleviates some of that. And it's having I guess as a taxpayer, that other trusted party to take a look at what the town is doing as far as putting these departments together. It's having somebody more independent take a look at it. So it kind of gives some validity to some of the budgetary issues, but and I'm not saying that the council doesn't, but I think if you try to get rid of the budget committee, it's going to totally look like a power grab. It is totally going to look like it's, it's one body that's going to do everything in town. And while I'm not so sure that it's not appropriate when you consider what other cities and towns do, I just think getting from where we are to getting there, I don't think it can be all done in one
Yeah.
swoop.
So I just want to be clear. I never suggested getting rid of the budget committee.
That's why.
What I suggested was moving to an appointed committee.
No,
But I think we can move beyond that at this point.
Yep.
So I put in 7. Is that a consensus between Jay, Denise? You okay with 7?
I
Yes.
am.
Yes.
certainly.
I think
6
that'll
year,
work fine.
4-year terms too?
Yeah, I would do 4-year term staggered.
Staggered.
So that would be
3
3
and
terms
4.
expiring at any, yeah. And,
Which- They have staggered terms now, so.
right, Michael, we need some, I'm gonna just put a note
Do
here,
any
Michael.
transition language, yeah.
Need transition language. Does the budget committee need a treasurer?
No,
No. And we
So
never
can we get-
elected one.
Can we get rid of that?
I never had one. I didn't know.
Why
there was,
would they need one? Unless
I don't
they,
know.
I didn't know there was one there now.
There
It's
is,
in the charter.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, well, let me put it this way.
oh yeah,
I
it
wanna make
says
sure.
secretary, treasurer, and other such officers.
Yeah, but I want to make sure I'm using the right one. And I don't,
No, it is, that's what it
Michael.
says.
Yeah, budget
Michael,
committee
do you have-
composition.
I'm looking at the printed charter on Mike, and it has that. In it.
Yeah.
Oh, does
yeah,
it?
You're
Okay.
right, yeah.
okay. Yeah, if while we're going,
Chairperson, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, and other such offices as the deem
all
appropriate.
right. So if while we're going through this, if you can just verify that it's the same language on the printed. Because this is the charter from 2008. What does that say? As amended through 2008. That's the only one I could find.
You want amendments through November 6, 2018.
That's what I have.
Michael, didn't you have a version that we played with for the other language?
I honestly don't remember.
It does
'Cause I
say
thought I,
the current one says the budget committee shall elect annually from among its membership a chairman, vice chairman, secretary, treasurer, and other such offices as they deem appropriate. So does that language mean that they don't even need to have a vice chair or secretary either? I mean,
No, they have to have at least those. And
They do.
Well, it says, Mike, it says shall, and when it says shall, that means you do it. But we never elected a treasurer.
no, I
And
didn't.
my last year, we didn't have a secretary. We borrowed one off of the clerk's office.
But they really do need their own secretary.
They do. I just couldn't get anybody to do it.
It's a lot of work, especially when you have a lot of meetings.
Well, it is if you're, you're trying to follow everything, look at everything, and then somebody's got to write things down. Sherry Aker did it. Deb Janik did it.
I did it my first year.
I was afraid I was going to have to do it, but I got away with it.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see if I have a different version.
Looking for that, can I just mention that I noticed when you had 11 members, it required no more than 6 to expire. Is there a reason it was more than half? And if that's the case, should we have 4 expire and not 3 if you're going with a 7-member group?
Oh,
Well, it was 6 and 5, so 4 and 3.
no, good catch, Jeannie, good catch. I'll fix that. No.
So the paragraph that you were showing on the screen, Mike, is exactly the same as what's in the
Yeah, but I know that there's changes since this version. That's my problem. And I know we had
okay.
another version we were working off of, but I
Okay.
can't find it.
So I think the one that's in the ordinances is the most up-to-date one, and that's the 2018 version, right?
Right. But the problem
Yeah.
with that, I know what I can do. Hang on.
So what are you looking for, the paper trail, Mike, or?
No, I'm looking for a copy that is up to date, but it's in Word. So
Oh, I get what
Oh,
you're
I
this
get
is
you.
the only, but I can go to the website
I got you.
and I can convert it. It's gonna have some funny symbols in it when I convert it, but that's okay. Let's see.
documents.
Documents. Oh,
Yeah, that's okay. All right, so I'm
what do
gonna
you
get
have
rid of
now?
that.
You have a document you can play with, or?
Yeah, you'll see, as we go through, you'll
Okay.
see funny symbols. See,
It's okay. I'm already dizzy from when you were doing what you were doing.
Jay, can you translate this for me?
I got a Greek somewhere.
I'm glad we didn't make too many changes already.
701.
You're almost there. There you go.
So 7 members. Oh, I want to do short track changes. No, 5, right?
No,
No.
4.
Oh, 4.
More.
4. Thank you.
Okay.
Take out treasurer, put and in here. Oh, no, you don't need any in there. Do you need the end, any such officers? I guess, I don't know.
I would leave that alone. I would just get rid of the treasurer.
Yeah.
I don't know what other officers they'd want.
Well, they'd have a docket secretary or, whatever they want
Oh,
to.
well, yeah, we did that. That was what Tom Haley did.
Oh, here's some transitional language, Mike.
Okay.
So,
I'll have to look at that, but yeah, I'll change that. So if you look at duties and responsibilities, so let's look at that. So participate in initial budget workshop. I guess that goes back.
do we
to-
need the initial budget workshop?
Well, really what it is a meet and greet.
So if I remember right, by law, the school committee, town council,
Okay,
and the budget committee do need to meet together. And I know in our charter, we have it so many days, I think.
No later than January 15th, according to the charter.
Right, and I think that still
Right.
should happen.
yeah, I think you're right.
And I think that's set by law. That's,
Okay. I don't think the
think
January
it's-
15th is, but
No, but I think it's in the educational statutes,
yeah.
under the school committee responsibilities, actually, I think, but I'm not positive. Could be in city and town statutes.
301A1 stays,
703.1 stays, yeah.
as is, okay.
Then it says to review the budget submitted by the town administrator and the school department, and review the committee shall consider both the supporting evidence for each requested budget expenditure and the ability of the town to support the level of services recommended. Okay. It's what budget committees do anyway, right?
Under Article 3, Financial Town Referendum, that's where it gives you a January 15th date for the initial budget workshop.
And that was backdated based on the timeframes that were needed. So we'll have to look at that date later. Are we okay with 2?
Yeah. Oh, I think so.
What is 2?
7032, to review the budget submitted by the administrator and school department and consider both the supporting evidence for each requested budget expenditure and ability of the town to support the level of service recommended.
Yep.
Okay. So to provide, 3 would be to provide the town council.
Yep.
I would say so.
Excuse me a second, guys. My phone is ringing. Hold on.
Okay.
Hello?
Would we want them to submit to the town council any resolutions
Yep.
it determines necessary?
I would, yep.
Period. It's not really a docket, is it? But we want them to, this is where knowing, right, let me see if I can pull up.
Well, it's a budget docket, but
I don't think you need 4 at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back there in a minute. I just wanted to have this up on my other screen, the Portsmouth one. So 4, well, we just assumed there might be, well, depends on how we do resolutions. If we do them by ordinance, then no. But if we do them by resolves and the budget committee thinks there's anything that should be done, then possibly.
To submit to the town council any resolutions determined by the budget committee to be necessary to implement the budget. Well, you could put to submit to the council any resolutions or ordinance, right?
Or ordinance.
Yeah. Or proposed ordinance, right? See, I get confused with your resolution process because I don't really know.
So again, how's it done in Situate?
We don't have resolutions, so actually put it this way: we have resolutions, but they're usually resolutions to borrow or to take out tax anticipation notes or to
Buy and sell land.
say it again.
Buy and sell land.
I don't think we have sell land. But we don't really have a resolution that tries to limit the spending or anything like that. They're just voting on a budget. I guess you could, technically, we have the strongest financial town.
Yeah, you have an FTM though.
Yeah, exactly.
and most of our, well, yeah, our resolutions are like for things like funding open space, or what do we do with leftover money that we want to put into paving, that kind of stuff. But if you put in here that it's got an ordinance, isn't that going to affect the timeline quite a bit?
Well,
Maybe, but we can always have most towns when they have financial ordinances, they say it's one passage. You don't have to do two passages.
Say that again?
In most towns, when it deals with the passage of a budget, it's usually, or ordinance related to a budget, it's one passage only. So two.
So everything that's within it passes.
Right, you pass it right.
So is there a reason why we would be doing ordinances here in number 4?
I was just putting what people were writing, speaking to. We don't have to. Michael had talked about that.
Because we're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about we're talking about the budget committee now writing ordinances.
Proposed.
Yeah,
ordinance.
Proposed. Can you take it?
You ever
I
do
would-
that, Chris? We never did.
Yeah, I
It
would
was
take
always
that out.
resolutions.
No, but the process
Excuse
is
me.
different. So we're trying to look at what is necessary if we change the process from being an FTR,
Mhm.
where we put the resolutions out to the town, to this,
So
where everything is going through us.
my view is what we're changing here is the role that happens between January and March between the town administrator and the town council to be the town administrator, school committee and the budget committee before it gets submitted to the town council. Because the town council is ultimately going to be the overseer. You have
Right.
still had an independent body look at both the town administrator's budgets and the school committee's budgets prior to getting to the town council for final docket submission. So I think that you've pretty much cleared up that here. Now it needs to go back to section 301 to make those effective changes on that side of the process.
So you get
Well,
rid of
no, we
one-
got to look at 5. So what's going to go out? So in Portsmouth, it's a little bit different process. The administrator puts together a recommended budget, gives it to the council, and then the council adopts a provisional budget, which must be published. And then public hearings would take place. So at some point along the way, we want something, and maybe it's after the town council does their piece. That might come after the town council does their piece, the publication of it.
I like a preliminary budget, right? Because it's preliminary because it doesn't, we don't know if there's gonna be signatures to try to override it, right? So. But I think Chris is right, 5, 6, and 7 go away.
So 5 is actually just submitting back to the town. It's not to the town clerk, it'd be to the town council. Right, for,
We're already submitting, no, we're already doing that in 3.
4.
To provide the town council with budget recommendations, which balance the value,
Oh, then
and
maybe,
to submit any resolutions is 4.
maybe
Okay.
5 should be, yeah, maybe we should just do to prepare and submit the proposed budget the proposed budget to the town council.
So then that should just go up here. Otherwise, I think it's redundant.
You know, I agree.
it is kind of redundant, yeah.
As the
So to-
recommendations, right?
So
But the
to
rest-
prepare,
The rest of it goes, unless you want them to prepare the docket as how it would get adopted by the town council. Okay, I think that covers it.
I don't like using the word believes. Recommends.
Get rid of that other,
Yes.
why don't you get rid of the whole thing? I mean, just prepare and submit to the town council a proposed budget with the budget committee. That's what they do. Other stuff is just kind of fluffy language. I mean, they should be doing that automatically, no?
I would agree. I think and I think having that fluffy language can sometimes be a challenge. So then we're going to get rid of these three.
Yeah.
Okay, and then 301 will dictate the timing of it.
Yeah, well, we might have to come back and look at this after we do some other things, but
Right, that's the general language, but the FTR process will outline who does what when.
Yeah, that's all of the whole schedule is there.
Right.
So if we go back to the schedule.
There you go, Mike.
this is just my thought.
No, that's fine.
Oops.
Is there a fight over who chairs that meeting normally?
I just think it should be clear.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know. I didn't make the last one, so I don't know how that one went.
I think traditionally it's been the chairman of the budget committee, but it really shouldn't matter.
Well, we can talk about that, but let's not try to make, let's
Yeah.
not make it, you know, let's.
Let's-
then it
don't get
really
hung
looks
up on it.
Then it looks like a power grab, so maybe you should leave it the same as let the budget committee chair the meeting. This is my suggestion. You know, again, keep it as much as, yeah, just keep it as consistent as what past practice has really been. We're just clarifying it. But that's up to you guys.
For now, let's just leave it there, okay? And then we'll come back to it.
So on, I think 2, 3, 4, okay. 5 is okay.
Do we have to have, so do we have to have a firm date? Those firm dates are based on backtracking from when having enough time for the FTR.
Right. So I would stick with the dates for now until we get,
Yeah.
see if we have to change them, but the process is okay. So the town administrator gives it to both the budget committee and the town council for what he has. The clerk, the treasurer, and the school committee all give it to the budget committee by the same date. But number 6, I think it would be reversed. It would be the town budget committee submits the final budget to the town council so many days prior to. And then I think the town council should hold a public hearing at some point.
I thought the January 15th date was related to that education law.
Yeah, I
This-
don't think that, I don't know if the statute, let me see if I can find it real quick on my other screen.
Sixteen four. Right.
Oops, wrong. Clicked on animal husbandry. I don't think we want to worry about that. 16.4 is the permanent school fund, so I think it's under 16.2. Unless it's under joint committee. No. That's weird. Mm. Okay, I got it. Okay, here, I'll pull it over. So at least 60 days, it's the top line. But not more than 90 days prior to the formal submission of the school budget to the appropriate city or town officials by the school committee, there shall be a joint pre-budget meeting between the school committee and the city or town council. So it doesn't speak to a budget committee. I think we added in the budget committee because of how
Right.
we're structured.
So what does it say? At least 60,
60,
but no more than 90?
90.
All right, so that would, on the 15th, that would take us,
But it's
So
prior to the
March
formal
15th.
submission of the school budget to the appropriate city or town officials by the school committee. So you really have to look at, for that purpose, when we want the school
FDR.
committee to give their budget to the budget committee.
I have a question.
Yeah,
So when we were discussing making changes to the FTR and potentially following a model like Portsmouth, they have a different timeline. So wouldn't you have to figure this out once, if we were to make the changes? Wouldn't the timeline change completely?
You're right, I think.
they would, I think.
right.
This timeline is all built off of the FDR.
Right.
In Portsmouth, I don't think they adopt theirs until June sometime, right?
It's the first regular meeting of the town council in June,
Yeah.
which is why their tax bills aren't due until like August 1st or September 1st. So I'm just thinking, trying to iron out dates and timelines right now. That could
Yeah, look,
change.
I think we should look at the duties and we'll figure out the dates later.
And currently our FTR is what, first Saturday in May?
Second,
Second. So, Michael, can you also look when, after we, I think, at 3 here, I don't think we have to get on it right now, but there is a time frame for the school committee to give ride information on annual budgets. And it's 30 days before the date of the financial town meeting or the date of the meeting of the city council at which annual appropriations are made.
Okay.
So we just have to take that into account. Okay. So I'm going to go back over here. Okay. So I just highlighted the date, just so we know we have to come back to that.
Highlight the dates and maybe things like 73 days prior and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So 6 becomes the budget committee. So actually, not necessarily. So, because this is just the municipal budget. This is when the town council would submit the municipal budget. to the town administrator.
Right, that's the only one the budget committee can deal with.
Right, but this isn't what Chris, I think, was thinking. Chris,
And
you were
what-
thinking that this was after the budget committee did their work, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So and what was the line? Let me find the language that we used down here.
So the 73 days is what we just did, giving it to the budget committee, right?
Mhm.
Last week.
Yeah,
I was trying to get it in a reverse order.
because what happens is in any given budget year, the town clerk develops the dates off of that timeline.
Okay, but let's say we did the second week of June. Adopted.
I'm just putting this here, so budget committee. How about this? Prepare and submit to the town council a proposed budget yeah. A comprehensive budget, municipal and town budget, or municipal and school budget, what? Because before we called it the docket. And it was combined.
Right. So unless you want to call it a combined docket that includes the school and the town and town clerk and town treasurer.
Combined budget.
Budget. That includes the municipal school, town treasurer, and town clerk. Budgets.
And are we gonna have
Right.
them continue to weigh in on revenue or not?
Who? Who, Jay?
Budget committee. They currently do.
I'm not so sure I have them weigh in on revenue or I have them weigh in on the use of the general fund reserves, the unrestricted general fund reserve.
Well, okay, so the way it is right now, when they make their final budget submission, it includes all of those, plus their resolutions, plus the
Town revenues.
town revenue, the revenue. And they assist in taking swag guesses at revenue. What'd you say, Denise?
As far as I remember, we provide them with the revenue estimates. And I don't recall in recent history them ever changing any of those estimates other than the general fund withdrawal.
My last year, we changed them some.
You did?
We reduced some of them, yeah.
Oh,
Because we were terrified of COVID.
I do recall Justin Katz changing some at a budget meeting now that you say that.
Yeah,
When
I mean, normally, we were quite happy with what you and others delivered.
Mhm.
I should probably move the clerk and the treasurers up further.
to the 73 days or the 63?
No, just up in sequence. Because now they're coming after we approve the budget.
They
Oh,
should be
I
up
see.
prior to that. They should be at the same time.
So they should be here probably.
Yeah.
This numbering is going to be way off. Don't worry about it.
So we're under 301 though, correct? We're not under,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still
Yeah,
the
this-
301.
I don't know why I got rid of the numbering there, but it did. So just to recap, we have the initial budget workshop. We'll highlight this date too. I know I have that as a placeholder, so I don't forget it. Administrator, prepare and submit municipal. Town clerk, prepare and submit. Oh, wait a minute. So so I might not, let me go back. Let me take these back for now. So are you preparing and submitting your preliminary or just your proposed budget, Chris? Under a new method?
I think I would be proposing my budget. It wouldn't be preliminary. I wouldn't be getting another shot at it unless it goes before the council. That's kind of what I think the council would entertain any changes to any of the budgets when they get it.
And is it assumed, is it safe to assume that when we're talking about this, or maybe we talk about it later in the budget format? So I just want to make sure we're talking about operations and capital. That's all.
So, well, that's another discussion point. That, yeah, at this point, I would say you have to include them both until there are some charter changes reflected over how the gaming money is going to be dealt with. Because I really don't think you should be doing capital if you have another fund that you're doing capital out of. Right now, we're doing it because we're doing it through an ordinance.
Right.
And it really would be inappropriate to put capital in the regular operating budget if we have a fund that we're doing it out of. And I know it's kind of disjointed right now because of the way the ordinance has been created and been adopted, because it really should be what the charter outlines. But I don't have any issue with the way we're doing it now, but I don't think you should get two bites at it. I think there should be either one or the other.
See, I would disagree. I don't think we can negate that there could be capital items that we just won't have enough money for. Or maybe have to go to, well, bond has to, because.
Well, that's true, but I would hope that that would go to the town council before it ever gets, those are things I
Right,
think the
but-
town council should be dealing with, not the individual department heads and the administrator.
But when you're putting together a budget and you have something that has been bonded, where does that money, does that show up under capital?
Yeah, if it's bonded, it's gonna be in debt services, yeah.
Yeah, it's debt service.
Being debt
Yeah.
service.
So that's why I'm saying you're still going to have some part of your budget that's capital, that's part of the budget process, right?
Right, yeah, I'm not disagreeing that it's gonna be presented as far as how we structure it and pay for it. It's the ultimate approval of some of these things that, how it happens, like if it's a fire, snow trucks or, small equipment and things that we, trailers or, whatever it is that we're buying, and we can do it through gaming, then that's one thing. But if it's like a school building or a new fire station or a police station, obviously there's no way that we'd be able to fund that out of an annual gaming allocation. But I think those are items the town council would put forth to be adopted, not so much the administrator or the schools.
So my only reason for asking that was is it okay just to say budget here? Or do we have to be inclusive of general operations and capital? Because let's take it out of the municipal. Let's go to the treasurer. Denise might have something that has to come out of capital some year.
Yep.
Does she include that here or not?
Would it,
I-
would
I
you
would
want
say,
to,
we're not gonna have much choice but to have it here as well, because we don't have the gaming set up by ordinance yet. So it's, I mean, by charter.
I don't want to have the gaming set up by charter. But that's a different issue.
It is a different issue, but it's, so until that's resolved, there's really no way for any department, whether it's, putting siding on a building or a new roof or something like that to be done without going before the town council to ask for it to be put on the budget. Right now, we're being told that all that stuff should be waiting to go to gaming. So it's from my perspective, I don't know where you want it to be. That's it's if we were gonna build a new public safety complex, there's no way that would be able to be funded.
Right.
No different than a ladder truck, right? We knew that was gonna be a 10-year payment. So, there
Yeah,
are,
and Chris, I guess I'm just talking about the structure. And so I moved down to this. So this doesn't separate capital out. So maybe the answer is we don't have to separately note
No,
capital when we're talking about budget proposals. That was really what
Okay.
the question was.
no, I don't think you have to separate it out. So,
Okay.
no, it'll be a policy decision of the council, how they want to deal with certain things at certain times. That's the way I'm living with it now. It's because every one of the departments had capital this year, but it's not in any of the budgets. So their expectation is they'll be dealt with when they get to gaming. But it's not memorialized in the charter now how to deal with it. So that's kind of, I would leave that somewhat silent the way, so it can still be done that way.
I'm just trying to make this consistent down here.
Yep.
And I put that all together there, so I'm just going to take 4 out.
Okay.
Okay, so where are we?
Page 3.
Yeah, well, there we go. So we don't need these because we've already put, oh, let me just take the clerk and treasurer because there's a little bit of extra language in the administrators. Because they've already submitted their budget to the budget committee, right? Okay. So in here, submit the final municipal and final revenue estimates. That's why I didn't do anything with that.
should you clarify that to say final non-tax revenue estimates?
Non-property tax revenue.
Not
like-
levy, right? Not levy, yeah.
Right.
Non-property, we could probably.
Is that what you want that to say, or would you rather just say non-property tax revenue?
That's how we label it, non-property tax.
Yeah,
Non-property, okay.
So I assume I'm going to strike what I'm going to highlight here. So what's in gray, I'm going to strike, right?
Oops.
yeah, because it's already been submitted to him earlier.
And to the town council,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think on these days where we say 63 and all that, stuff, we gotta figure out the date, the last day that a town council can pass a budget. We
right?
gotta work back from that.
Well, you want to work back, actually, Michael, if you're giving time for somebody to put an alternate in, don't you want to work back from there?
Yes, but that's triggered by the date. There's so many days after the town council submits its budget that they have to get signatures, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay. So this one comes out. So this one comes out and this one comes out, right?
I think so.
Geez, there's still more.
There's a lot.
So we don't need any of this, right?
Well, no, the town council is not going to submit an optional budget.
Right, yeah.
No, I don't think anybody else should be able to either.
Mhm.
Unless the voters do it, right?
Yeah, we need to leave
The
that
town
one
council,
in.
the town council should be able to pass an alternate budget. But it's of their own doing.
Right.
Well, but it's not an alternate budget.
No, it would be their own budget, but
It's their
let's say for the sake of argument that the town administrator, the town clerk, and the town treasurer all went through this process, had no changes, but the school committee came at the end of the budget committee process and pled with the town council to say the budget committee hit us too hard. And the town council in their infinite wisdom decided to give them, let's say it was another $50,000.
Yeah.
I'm just making stuff up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it would be still the town council's budget, but it
Right.
has the ability to make amendments or above and beyond whatever the budget committee recommended to the.
Right, right.
It's
Yeah,
not
I just-
optional. It's their new budget. It's their new stab at the budget.
Right,
Yeah, I just didn't want it to be called an alternate budget because it's really not.
okay. I'm
Not.
just trying to make my thought clear as to what. And it would be no different if any one of the other parties were singled out somehow and they wanted to seek council input on how their budget was treated.
Right. So this really needs to go the other way, right? You need to go first. We need to go second. Because you're submitting to us.
Trying to read Portsmouth to yours at the same time. So I'm kind of. You're saying where I submit to both the budget committee and the town council?
I'm sorry?
I was lost where you said that. Town council, revise. Right, I think that's correct. It's just a matter of picking the right timeframes now.
So something like that. Are we using the same Zoom, Chris?
No,
No, okay.
is it getting time on that time already?
It's
About
6:30, I
25
just-
minutes.
Yeah, it's 6:30. I just wanted to check. We've been doing good work here. All right, so I got rid of all that. And again, this is the first cut. We may come back and say, whoops. Because we really have to figure out now, I think, and I don't know.
This all goes away.
Well, but you want to have a format if a petitioner does, if there is an alternate budget, that gets whatever requisite number of signatures we determine. And Portsmouth, and Chris, I know you have it up in front of you, you said.
I'm trying to find it. Do you know the number, the chapter number?
For their budget,
well, you're in
208,
208, I think, yeah. Which is strictly budget, and then they have the budget referendums in there.
Yeah, we still need to put in some type of public hearing.
Yes,
On the council's budget, yeah.
On the council's budget.
I would say at least 14 days prior to adoption, but
Yeah, Portsmouth has 1 month. Within 1 month within 1 month following the completion of the public hearing. So actually, I could have a public hearing today and approve it tomorrow. So we need to worry about a public hearing process.
so what you'd want to say instead of that is like something like no sooner than, or something like that.
Yeah, I just
If
think
you wanted to give, a specific length of time during which that process would occur, rather than saying no later than or within.
Yeah. See, in Portsmouth says
Well, their number 5 says within 1 month following completion of public hearings on the provisional budget at a regular town council meeting in June.
no, I'm
And they
looking at
have referendum
Yeah.
petition says
right.
within
I'm
2
trying to equate it
weeks.
to what we have in ours. So their
Yeah.
petition, because I'm looking at this ballot budget proposals, their petition, they have forms with standard language and spaces for the insertion of dollar amounts, budget designations, whether an increase or decrease is called for, and other necessary information. So that's what we don't necessarily have. They just take the docket and write all over it.
Okay.
So we just want to think about, I think we need to take a closer look, and I'll, do I have a way?
Yeah, you're
Jeannie, I'm
right.
gonna,
This appears to make it possible for them to insert dollar amounts, budget designations, whether an increase or decrease is it called for, and other necessary information, whatever that means.
So I'm gonna send to Gina, I'm gonna send it to you because I don't have an appointment with everybody's name on it, email address on it. So if you can send it to everybody, I'm gonna send the Portsmouth charter.
Okay,
That way you guys have it to look at. Am I sending it to town clerk? Is that the right one?
correct, yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm thinking we're probably at a point, my suggestion is we're at a point to stop today. Oh, I should have sent this to you too, but I'll do that after I save it.
Stop and digest.
Unless
Stop and
others
digest
have,
and get some food in ours before the next meeting.
No, I meant digest what we've been looking at here.
I know, okay.
I think the key is to try to figure out when Portsmouth adopts their provisional budget. Because I think everything flows from that.
I'll have to look at that a little bit more carefully.
Their provisional budget, let's see.
Excuse me.
Within 1 month following the completion of, oh, yeah. Well, within 1 month following the completion of the public hearings on the provisional budget at a regular town council meeting in June. So that means the public hearings had to be in May, sometime in May.
Yeah.
okay. So I'm going to propose we stop there and then we have to look at dates for our next meeting.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the group that I still have to do for work is still meeting on Monday nights at the same time. I'm going to stop this share. And I know we got to get moving on this too. I can't do the 20. So are there other nights of the week that folks can do? I can do April 4th. I just can't do the 28th. Where I can, and I'd rather not go. But Mike, you have stuff on the alternate Mondays, don't you?
Yeah. Hold on. I'm looking at April 4th. Though.
And while you're looking, can we continue to do these virtually? Or do we have to
No.
go in person? No, I didn't think so. Okay. So we're gonna have to do them in person.
So what do you mean we can't do them virtually? I thought you could do them as long as everything was virtual.
No, and after the 19th,
No.
that all ends.
Oh, everything goes public then. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I thought you could still do virtual if everything was virtual.
No.
And that thing I sent you the other day, that's the new Senate bill that just got submitted.
Yeah.
It's going to say you have to have, in addition to in person, you will have to have either a virtual or a hybrid at the same time. One or the other.
Well, you can't, if they're requiring you to have it in person, then it has to be hybrid because otherwise it's either all virtual, all in person or hybrid. There's
Well,
nothing.
now there's a Senate bill in the mill that's going to have an effect on all of that.
Right. No, all I'm saying is you can be in person or you can be virtual or you can be hybrid. You can't be in person or virtual. You know what I mean? Anyway. So thoughts on dates?
I'm good for the 4th and the 28th. I'm not good with.
I'm okay on the 4th too, Mike, actually, for some reason. I don't know why, but I am.
Denise, how about you? Oh, is she gone?
Oh,
She's gone.
that's the wrong one.
Jay, are you okay on the 4th?
I am right now.
Let me just check one thing.
I don't know why you said the 28th though. That's a Thursday.
Am I looking at the wrong calendar? Oh, I'm looking at April. No, 28th of Monday.
Monday,
In
the
April?
last day. Yeah.
March
March.
28th.
No,
is a
no,
Monday.
28th of March, which is
Oh,
our
March,
next meeting.
sorry, March.
Monday.
Yeah, yeah.
So April 4th, you want to do?
Well, let me just make sure I'm not speaking out of turn with my other calendar.
Okay.
Which should be a council meeting too.
Shit. No, the 4th won't be a council meeting.
Denise, can you hear us?
She's not on.
No, she is here.
Um,
Somehow she get boxed out.
Oh, okay. Would 4 o'clock work?
Okay, now I'm back. I don't know what happened.
Would 4 o'clock on the 4th work?
Works for me.
Because that other meeting I have is still there on the 4th. That's my problem.
Okay.
All right. So 4 o'clock, April 4th,
4 o'clock?
4
Town
PM,
hall.
Town Hall.
Oh, yeah, that's right, town hall. Yeah. Okay.
I'll,
Or
yeah, okay.
And I'll try to have the final, I'd like to get the committee to vote on the final, on the other stuff that we've already done, so we can just push that along.
All right.
okay,
Okay,
And then
good.
I'll look at this too a little bit.
All right. Thank you all. See you in 15
See you in
minutes. or
15
less.
minutes.
Motion to
Oh,
adjourn?
motion to adjourn. Thank you, Jeannie. Jay,
second,
motion to
Motion.
adjourn.
motion,
Second.
We got motion and second. Jay,
yes.
Denise,